This video is going to show you how to describe transformations given a parent graph and then given the resulting. So when you're doing this, first look at what you're starting with, which is your parent graph, and then look at the new graph. And you want to take a look at the new numbers that you have. So here you have a 2, you've got the +3, and you have the -4. So I'll start with the 2. The 2 is being multiplied times our function. So when you're multiplying by a number that's greater than 1, that is going to be a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. All right. The next one is inside with the x. So because it's inside and it's being added, we know it's going to be a horizontal shift left 3 units. And last but not least, we have a 4. The 4 is on the outside, so that we know that we're moving vertically. And since it's minus, that means that we're going to shift down 4 units. Easy. Let's move on to the next one. Our parent graph was a quadratic, x squared, and our new one is negative x squared plus 3. So what we're doing here is, the first thing that we did was we multiplied -1 times the whole thing. It's not inside in parentheses with the x. So since it's on the outside, it's a vertical flip. Well, not a vertical flip, but just a flip over the x-axis, over the x-axis. So we took care of this negative out here because it's pretty much a -1. So it's staying the same, it's just flipping. And the next thing is we have this +3 and it's on the outside. So that means that we're moving down. So shift, not down, up, excuse me, up because it's positive. Here we go. Moving on to the next one. All right, so for this one, we're given a exponential function. We're given 4 to the x. And so we have 3 things actually going on. First thing I notice is this -2. And it's being multiplied times the function. Okay. So because it's negative, I know that I have to flip. Okay. We're multiplying the negative times the whole function, and it's not coupled with the x, so we know that we're going to be flipping over the x-axis. Now that we've addressed the negative part of it, we have to also address the 2. Because it's greater, well, the magnitude is greater than 1, that means that it's going to be stretched. So that's a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. Okay, so the negative part made it a flip. The 2 part being multiplied made it a vertical stretch. Sorry, I didn't write that. All right, the last thing is this +3. The +3 is with the x, it's not on the outside. So that means that we are moving to the left 3 units. So that's 3 transformations right there. For our parent function for this one, we've been given a quadratic. This time we've been given x squared plus 3 as our parent. Now the resulting one is x squared minus 9. So this one is a little bit weird because we already had something at the end. All right, so we started with this plus 3. And now the only change is now we have a minus 9. So what we have to figure out is how much of a change was there. Okay, so if we take our original, which was f of x is equal to x squared plus 3, what plus 3 will give us negative 9? Negative 12. So really, what this resulting function is we're taking our parent function and we're subtracting 12 from our parent function. So the transformation that's going to occur is a shift, because it's on the outside, it's going down 12 units. So that one was a little bit weird. You had to pay attention to where you started and where you ended up. Since you started with a plus 3, you had to go down 12 units. And our last one's coming up. So this one we have a 5th degree function, x to the 5th power. And we have two things going on. We have this negative that's coupled with the x. And then on the outside, we have the plus 4. So, because we're multiplying the x, just the x, times a negative, and it's inside in the parentheses, we know that we're going to flip. Since it's with the x, we're going over the y. Alright. Now, the last thing is we have a plus 4 on the outside, so that means that we're shifting down. Up, sorry. I don't know why I keep saying that. Shift up 4 units. I changed my mind and decided to add another one, because we haven't done any one with a factor that was less than 1. So let's try that out. So we have two things going on. We have the negative again. It's being multiplied times the whole thing. It's not being coupled with the x. So that means that we're going to flip over the x-axis. For this 1/4, because we're multiplying it times the whole function, that means that we are going to have a change in shape of it. So that would be a vertical shrink by a factor of 1/4. Something else that we could use to describe something like this is some people will call it a vertical shrink, while some people say that it gets wider. So it's the same type of thing. Just as when you have a vertical stretch, it gets narrower. So this is one way to describe what happens here.